And there, and who was in the room when the displacement of that taxi rank, which was there for us, your material suppliers, blockchain puts us there. If there's some regulators, whether from the various approvals on the government side and other players, your developers, your material, and I actually produce for all the big players. It didn't end there, even though 200 lives were lost. It was just the beginning of what became a very embarrassing state of the nation. That matter remained in the open courts for 5 years, which is a bit awkward because it's a matter not only of social justice, it's a matter not only of an industry needing to regulate itself consistently with fairness and at a granular level detail, but it's also a matter of records. Where is the data? Where did the contamination come from? Where did the break in across the silos come from? So when buildings collapse and people lose life and investors are prejudiced economically, we shouldn't take 5 years to get to the bottom of the matter. One matter that we worked in, my co-founder is over here, we are both solutions architects. We work with an American firm that sought to reduce 5 billion food recalls to much smaller recalls. And one director in supply chain picked up a pack of mangoes, big retailer in the world, walked into the boardroom, gave the mangoes to their experts in supply chain and said, can you trace the farm where this packet of mango that I'm enjoying, where it comes from? It took them 2 weeks. Enter blockchain. That 2 weeks was reduced to 2.5 seconds. We need to democratize access to legitimate parties that need access to authentic data, the ledger that doesn't lie and doesn't take bribes. Thank you.
That was very good. Thank you very much, sir. And based on what you just said now, leads me to the professionals working within the project. So, Dr. Brighton, given your experience with different professions, you're a structural engineer, a project manager, and I believe you have worked with QS and all other built environment professionals. How do you think, based on the possibilities, the capabilities of blockchain, how can these professionals adopt blockchain technology, given the fact that it might expose them, like what he just mentioned now? So how do you think we can, at the professional level, they can embrace blockchain? Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Love. You know, when I saw you were the moderator, I thought you were going to be asking me about relationship. So I came prepared for relationships questions. But now I'm bombarded with technical ones. But that's a good question. I think the most fundamental aspect that we need to take into consideration is not to impose systems or any invention to any stakeholder. So stakeholder engagement and involvement right from the planning phase is very, very important. Because I think we're having an informal discussion about the blockchain and how people are going to receive it, especially in the construction sector. So the moment you want to change things, you are disrupting a system that is existing and that is beneficial to the system or the role players that are currently enjoying that. So you must be actually prepared to face resistance, because if you're introducing something that is going to disrupt a system that was benefiting me, why must I embrace it? So the most important thing is to pull all the stakeholders, pull them along, get them involved, show them the benefits of why you're actually wanting to introduce blockchain. Tell them about the benefits, the transparency that it comes with, but also educate them in terms of what you're trying to do, what are you trying to leverage by introducing this particular system. Otherwise, if you don't do proper stakeholder engagement, you're going to have a system that remains a white elephant, because stakeholders won't actually even buy into that. A typical example is the e-tolls that were imposed to the residents of Gauteng, and where are they now? So it's important that the first and foremost aspect that you deal with is engaging the stakeholders, bring them along, show them the benefits, also take inputs from them so that at least whatever you build does not belong to you only, but it's a collective. The second aspect is introduce your awareness, your training programs, but not only at individual or firms level, but maybe involve the professional bodies like your EXAs, your Association of Quantity Surveyors, Architects, SACP, CMP, all those. They've got a very, very huge influence in terms of if they buy the concept, they'll be able to influence their membership and they will then actually enforce it and then it becomes a success. The third aspect that you probably need to take note of is that most people believe in practical things, not theoretical things. So the moment, and probably that's why I'm not in the academia space on a full-time basis, because I believe in actually providing practical solutions. My brother there from MISA was bringing up very practical questions that I think we also need to reflect on and be able to address them, because if we're just providing theoretical solutions, at the end of the day, we need to ask ourselves, are we then providing a solution to an existing problem, or we just manufacturing problems in the boardroom and then throw solutions into the ecosystem and hoping that by virtue of coincidence, they'll then solve the other existing problem. So if there is a demo or a pilot on blockchain, a small one, that we can actually develop and showcase so that people don't just think about this thing in theory terms, but they can actually feel and touch and see what it does. I think that will actually be a game changer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Barton. Earlier this year, we conducted a research on the application of blockchain, trying to look into renewable energy project success. And some of our findings is what you just confirmed, that there's a need for a socio-technical aspect of project implementation. But here comes my question, what about the time? Well, because before you can convince everybody to embrace the technology, will the time not run out of us? Like, we have the time, given the advancement in the construction industry. Like the time to convince, the time to...
Yeah, so it's better so we don't have the time. That's the short answer that I can give. However, it's better to take a longer period consulting and convincing and persuading rather than saying then I'm going to go with a detective approach, a detecting approach and say whatever it takes, I'm going to detect it to them. I'm going to enforce or just give it to them, whether they like it or not. Because the moment you do that, then you are destined for failure. So in as much as we do not have the time, but we need to put timelines, and you also need to be strategic in your stakeholder engagement. Identify the stakeholders that actually would make this thing a success and wouldn't actually resist and would be able to influence the other stakeholders so that you don't engage each and every stakeholder, but the role leaders or the role players, the policymakers. Once you involve those ones and you get their buy-in, then you actually bound to have a shorter turnaround time.
Thank you very much. Let's go into the educational aspect of blockchain. Dr. Taba, a young lady there had asked a question earlier regarding reskilling, upskilling, and based on the activities you have done within the blockchain sector. What do you think is the research practice gap within the built environment educational landscape? That you think these are gaps that you have identified from the project you have handled, from the apps and entrepreneurial that you have worked with within the blockchain system? What are the practice research gaps that are there that we should pinpoint to and identify as these are things that we must focus on? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. David. The research gap that I have identified so far is the integration between what we are teaching and what we are researching and what we are implementing in the community. Unfortunately, as an academic, we have to wear all these caps. We have to teach, we have to write up our research, and then we still have to implement it in the community. And it is doable. So we are not only theoretical, we are practical. We did test it. We started this journey with Prof. Nulu in 2023, where I just went to their center and said, I want to bring technology into the supply chain students specifically, blockchain. And then we gone and then we interrogated the curriculum. After interrogating the curriculum, we took elements that are relating to blockchain and curriculum, and then we started teaching that theoretical part. So in 2023, we just taught theory, and we told students, based on the theory that you taught you on blockchain, what can you bring out? Go out in the communities, and then within your communities, what challenges are there which can be solved by supplier chain and can also be solved by blockchain, or blockchain can come up as a solution. And then the student came with the problems in the community, but they also made sure that the problem that they are bringing in can actually be solved through blockchain technology. This is 2023. Come 2024, we thought, it's not only about teaching them, let's make it practical. Non-technical students like your construction management students and supply chain students have never coded before. So you are teaching them blockchain, but they don't know what you are talking, what animal are you talking about? Then we brought facilitators in the lecture hall to also teach them coding and gradually to take them through blockchain. You cannot believe the applications that they brought to us, which are actually solving real problems within communities. So the gap, going back to the gap, is now I'm a teacher and I've been teaching the student and the apps are there. But how do I get this information outside there, that it get to be known by the industry, it get to be known by policymakers, and also for the same model to be replicated by other lecturers is research. So we have to now try our level best that we integrate the three. What I'm teaching, what I'm researching, and what I'm implementing in the community can actually be one thing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Taba. From your response now, the duty is for the educators to start the practicalization of the application of the application of blockchain into what they are teaching. So the duty to, like you did, is for the educators, the construction lecturers, to begin to see, okay, these are gaps in this curriculum. Let me seek help. Is that what you are saying?
Yes, actually collaboration is key because you cannot know it all. You need to go out and seek. There was no way that I'll teach blockchain in my class and implement it without the such teacher of blockchain in the university. So it's a matter of collaboration, learning from others, but then reminding them we are not only doing it for research, and we are not only doing it for teaching, but at the end of the day, we need to juggle in between. At the end of the day, as academics, we are required to teach and learn, and we are also required to bring out output, which is our research. But if the bigger picture, that research definitely is going to help the industry one way or another. In such settings, we can sit and say, this is how we came about, go refer to that article, and then most importantly, here is the app that the students have developed. The Big Five that we are launching on Friday, you wouldn't believe where it started in the classroom. But then currently we have 2 honors groups that are writing research around the automotive industry automotive mechanics within the townships. We also now have a master student who is also working on digitalization and automobile industry. All these are built up from the project. And then we also, myself, I've published 2 papers around Big Five app and the startups at large. So that integration is actually needed, and hence I said the academic need to wear that cap.
Thank you very much. I know the academics are listening. They have to take the first step. Mr. Lucky, can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you very much. From what Dr. Taba has just mentioned now, that the student needs to learn how to code, and they had to bring in some facilitators to help with them. So that brings up the infrastructural readiness of within the South African construction landscape, or even within the South African economy. Like from a systems engineering perspective, what infrastructural readiness gaps do you think are there that are constraining the implementation of blockchain within the industry?
Okay, thank you very much. If you look at in terms of connectivity, we can start by saying some of the construction sites might be remote, where there's no internet connectivity or it's unstable. That will basically limit the real-time synchronization with the blockchain. But we know by now, technology has evolved from your standard Wi-Fi and your GSM connectivities. We have solutions such as your LoRa, which can cover several kilometers to enable those the sensors that we have in a field to be able to synchronize with the blockchain. The other one that I really don't want to even dive into because of regulations and red tapes, we have the Starlink to solve some of those connectivity issues for remote sites. So some of the challenges, as we know, obviously, which has recently just stabilizes, is the issues of power supply in remote constructions where we used to have your load shedding and all. But those issues really poses a serious risk into integrating with blockchain and facilitating the transactions through smart contracts.
Thank you very much. So if I want to build on what your response now, from the educational perspective and also from the industry perspective, the infrastructure that is needed, do you think is something that both parties can work together to solve? For instance, now, if we are to teach blockchain within the South African built environment curriculum, and we need, and just like Dr. Taba said, they need to know how to code, and with the connectivity issues you are saying, and even on construction site also, how do you think they can bridge some of these gaps? Is that investment? Is it, do they need government help, or do they need, what do you think are the solutions from both the academia and also from the industry?
Yeah, I think the biggest issue that we still remain with and needs to really change is that blockchain is still associated with a scam or a fraud. And that is the biggest issue that we need to solve and change people's mindset. And there's one aspect that was raised there, educating the masses, which is very important, because similar to your machine learning algorithms, we have those smart contracts which are standardized. And with those smart contracts, we can actually deploy them into now, like we are saying now, in the construction environment. So we need to deal firstly with the issue of taking blockchain as a scam. Then we can move forward, because it's still a big challenge which really hinders the adoption of blockchain. So that's basically my point.
I think I get you. Thank you very much. I want to take one question from the audience. Just one. Anyone that you want to ask? Just Just your name and probably affiliation, and then your question. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. I'll try to make it easy for us to follow. First, I've just read the discussion focus, which talks about acceptability, challenges, and opportunities. My first question is, who's your target market that you want to access? Who regulates them? How are they regulated? What are they currently using that you want to replace? Are you bringing a carrot or a stick? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, Dr. Taba.
Part of my work is to decolonize curriculum. And I will oftenly be asked, how are you decolonizing it? The answer is, mine is very specific. I teach students how Africa stands and what are the barriers in Africa. Why am I doing that? I'm doing it because I intentionally want the student to know the challenges that are in Africa. One thing closer to my heart is that Africa does not trade among itself. So by doing that, I know when we teach them digital skills, we want them to crack the same barriers that are there. So same applies to when we get to the classroom. I was told that I need to bring 4th IR into curriculum as well. And then I sat down, I'm teaching supply chain management. Which 4th IR can I bring into the curriculum? The closer one was blockchain. And then when I brought blockchain into the curriculum, I didn't know what is it that it will be an outcome. But as university, we are trusted with the young one, the future of tomorrow. You go there, you teach them, you just give them a concept, and they come up with solutions that you have never could have imagined. Having said that, the current startup that we have in the university, which our students have done with blockchain, they are not replicating anything that is in the market. In the market, they are bringing convenience and efficiency. That alone, it shows that they don't even need to target anyone. They just need to look what is the problem and bring solution to the problem.
Thank you very much, Dr. Taba. I think Dr. Patton also want to answer the question.
Yeah. I think the questions that you asked are very valid questions. And in the context of project management, we know that stakeholder management is one of the cosmetic knowledge areas, but not in the context of South Africa, and not in the context of you wanting to introduce a new system. So those questions are very key questions that you need to ask before you even go and engage your stakeholders. So that whatever you're proposing, you know these individuals that you are approaching, you know who is the policy maker, you know where they stand with regard to the current system. Are they conflicted? Are they actually benefiting from the current system? If they are, then you need to be aware of that information so that whatever you're selling them, because the next question will be, why must I buy into this when I stand to lose out of changing the current system? So if you ask yourself all those very important questions, your stakeholder engagement becomes very easy, and you're able to then persuade all the stakeholders so that you've got buy-in from all of them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you kindly. So my day job actually involves stakeholder relations, but also touches on developing or improving features that are market targeted. I'm going to use a practical scenario. South Africa is home to 26 vegetable or other fruits and veg, including meat markets, 26 of them. Most of them are run by municipalities. So herein lies the challenge where blockchain has a fit. You are a farmer, you've got debt under your nails. Basically, my co-founder and I, when we built eFarmer app, we built it for our parents because they raised us battling to make a living, even though they were the hardest workers that we have seen. But there were tensions at the farm gate where produce has to exit the farm gate. Typically, 90% of the time, if you are a smallholder farmer or semi-commercial, when you direct your yields to the market, you don't have a purchase order. There is no order that is linked to your produce as it leaves the farm. There's your hard work of 3 months. You just have to cross your fingers and hope that the powers that be at the market will decide in your favor. They'll give you the right price and wait for it. Getting the right price is actually not even your best bet. You're hoping you won't get a call to say, Mr. Shadrach, actually, your crops did not meet a specification. So what did you do with it? We destroyed it. Remember, regulation says if your yield doesn't meet a standard that the market operates with, it's heading straight for destruction. There, you order transporter who brought it to the market without any purchase order. It's chaotic. So I remember the earlier comment where the big guys are swallowing the small guys. So we can't have that inequality in the day and age where the truth ledger can be the single source of truth to go like, wait a minute, which specifications were not met? We could have been drawn into that geopolitical tension, but we didn't. We started eFarmer as an alternative whereby of the 40 million farmers on African soil, only 7 million of them are responsible with their signatures feeding 80%, or rather 80% of their food feeding us. But here's a catch. 80% of only 7 million farmers feeds us across Africa, but it's not always their yield. It's actually a yield with their signature on it. So with the truth ledger not being in the room, Amadumbi come from KZN mainly. Those Amadumbi, when they travel from those gogos into Johannesburg in a bricks and mortar market that I don't need to mention for now, when they make their way, did you know there's a minimum, or rather there's an average 20 middlemen in between that Amadumbi 2-hectare farm and the market. Why is that a problem? 18 of those middlemen can't justify why they are part of that transaction. They are only part of it because I went to the same school as Prof. Namdi, so he knows me, he has to cut me in. Even at the expense of what those gogos end up with. We have a scenario where 811 million people are going to go to bed hungry tonight. Why? Because they can't make ends meet. The embarrassing part is that a majority of those 811 million are actually farmers. So we have a scenario where the farmers that look like people that raised us don't even have food on the table by the time you and I enjoy our dinner tonight. So the smart contract, it's similar to the book, most of you may know it, by Lance Armstrong, who had his own challenges after Tour de France and the doping scandal. But he wrote a book that I want to introduce here to seal my feedback to you. The book is called It's Not About the Bike. So in agreement with my fellow panelists here, it's not about the blockchain. It's what blockchain is offering into the room to earn the trust of those that are already occupying the room and to demonstrate value that those that are in the room cannot do without. So if I was a proponent or a sales or advocate of blockchain, I wouldn't discuss code, I wouldn't discuss the technicalities. I'll simply bring forward, as my fellow panelists said, the cost efficiencies, the benefits that the room has been praying about. That way, it's not about the blockchain. It's about the answer to the prayers that have been in the room. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shadrach. Mr. Loki, do you want to also share your thoughts on that?
I agree with the first panelist. In terms of the trade-offs, especially what we need to look at when we deploy or when we choose blockchain. And he touched on a very, very important aspect, the cost. Because if you look at now, most of the the blockchain projects, they start on a test net. You sit there on a test net, you do all the testing, but most of them, they never get to the main nets. Purely because of few things, like your transaction costs, your consensus mechanisms. Those are things that we need to look at. The trade-offs in terms of, now, do I want it to be a permission or permissionless? The cost associated with having a certain consensus mechanism. So those are very important. And most of the time, those are aspects that are actually hindering the adoption of blockchain. Because now, once it's working on a test net, now the biggest issue is now the costs. How do I now go into the main net? And then you are confronted with this cost, and based on how often do you want to log the data on the blockchain. The other aspects, again, are issues like your sensitivity of the data. So those becomes a problem to people who are new to blockchain, and affects the adoption so much that we taking long to have this blockchain being used in different scenarios. I'll give you an example. In around September, I'll be presenting about integrating blockchain into intellectual property transactions. So it's just to show that we are trying to take away this mindset of blockchain being a scam, and try to integrate it into different use cases to show how important actually blockchain is in different scenarios.
Thank you very much, Mr. Loki. Just the last set of questions for our panelists. Please kindly bear with us. Mr. Shedrack, you mentioned earlier about how tedious the bureaucracy is, like the middlemen. What do you think of the CIDB, the Director of Performance is here? What do you think are the solutions to some of these regulatory issues in the application of blockchain, based on your own experience in the e-Farmer app?
Thank you kindly. That's a good question. So what the construction sector can borrow from our playbook or from our wins is, when we went live with the e-Farmer app, within 4 weeks, 6,000 buyers onboarded themselves onto the app. Not much marketing, not much sizable budget to try and invite them in. They jumped in because they saw value. As we speak, we have 5,000 farmers in the pipeline putting their hands up to now sell to that buyer pool. So when it comes to stakeholder expectations or stakeholder alignment, whether we're speaking regulators or we are speaking inclusion, here's where we need to be mindful that if blockchain is the answer, or blockchain is the accurate tool, what are the cultural dynamics in the room? I'll only use one example to be brief. I think by 2023, there was a study that showed that the construction industry has lost roughly around 63 billion in losses. We have to revisit that study to say where is the updated version now. 63 billion was lost due to what was termed construction mafias. That's very interesting when you mention stakeholders, because us existing outside the sector looking in, we start asking ourselves certain questions to say, one of the biggest cries of the so-called alleged construction, and they can even impose up to 30% of levies on the legitimately awarded construction project. One of what they put in the room, and it's got smoke and mirrors to it, is the process was not transparent, it was not fair, it was not fairly awarded. And that is quite regrettable, because when blockchain enters the room, it doesn't actually favor the construction mafia, neither does it favor the legitimate custodian of the award. What it does as a truth machine is that it simplifies the attainment and custodianship of the right data. How was it decided? When was it decided? What were the stringent measures? were the regulatory requirements. So there's a whole lot of expectations that when digitized through a smart contract, that smart contract digitization avails to us the black box. Because remember, there's a CTO in a cloud computing who said, whatever may go wrong will go wrong. That's not negative. It means when we codify smart contracts with regulatory purposes in mind and with economic gain and fairness in mind, we need to codify them knowing that we need to future-proof these moving parts, expecting an investigation to happen, expecting a dispute to happen, and therefore dispute resolution has to be fast-tracked. Imagine, I'm not saying that the construction mafia will go away. If we were to give them the truth, they might just find another excuse to now keep tormenting the nation. However, if through blockchain, we can simplify the attainment at the fingertips for regulators when they need to do audits, when audits must be done. And for those that are awarding this project at whatever angle, to be able to, at the fingertips, to access and what do you call it, and bring up and project what went down, when it went down, rather than having to go to file 13. Thank you kindly.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shedrack. And Dr. Brighton, I want to ask, you are a founder of a construction firm, and you have seen the possibility, the benefit of blockchain technology within the industry. What do you think is a unique value proposition that other construction firms that are listening to us right now, that are in the room, can buy into to embrace and adopt a blockchain within the industry?
Yeah, thanks. You give me too much credit. I'm not a founder of a construction company. I wish I was one. It's a consulting firm. But the value proposition of blockchain, I would go back to what Dr. O said in his presentation, that you can't solve a problem that is non-existent. So already there are challenges within the existing systems, and blockchain, what blockchain does is to try and optimize and solve those problems. So it's not like we're trying to impose blockchain on the current system, but it actually addresses the shortcomings or the gaps. And one of the gaps that are there is that the information, the records management, in terms of what the other panelist was talking about. So with blockchain, you wouldn't have that particular problems. You've got your tamper-proof log of information that is not disputable. That's number one. Number two, you with blockchain, you actually have got improved or reduced contract disputes, because the records are there, the information is there, there is transparency, there is also improved compliance, because everything is done transparently and everybody can see. You trust the process. But the most important one is what also Dr. O spoke about, that it tries to bridge the trust deficit. Because at the moment there is a trust deficit. The reason why most people wouldn't trust the process is because whenever you hear about tenders or contracts, you're thinking, the process is not transparent already. Before it comes out, everybody knows that this is going to belong to so and so, it's going to be awarded to so and so. So why waste time? That's why even in terms of investment, people tend to not have that appetite to invest, because there is transparency concerns, there's issues of trust. Will I get my money back? What if things go wrong? But with blockchain, all those deficiencies would actually be solved. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Dr. Taba? You have done a lot of work ensuring students embrace blockchain. Is there any pedagogical approach you have been using that other educators within the room also can learn from you?
Yes, definitely. So blockchain is also known as technology of the future. The first thing when you approach the class is to enlighten them around these technologies, but also enlighten them about the issues that we are faced in Africa, which these technologies can actually solve. That's where it all started. And then beyond that, you also sitting with a curriculum that we all know is rigid. You are sitting there say, but how do I do this into my curriculum? The curriculum that we are using, you have an option every year where you can do changes around 10 to 30%. And then that's how you bring in a bit because technology changes regularly. What we do, we bring something like I said in 2023, we brought in the blockchain theory into the existing curriculum. And then later, the following year, we also brought the practical part of it. Then you got a buy-in from the student. You were in a position where you told the student, we need a solution. They are aware what are the challenges in Africa, and they are eager to come up with solutions. Then you come in with the curriculum, you are actually giving it to them. Remember, again, I'm talking to people who are teaching non-technical students. These are non-technical students. They have never been in front of the computer doing the curriculum work per se. They've been there doing other things, but they never been there doing the curriculum work. But then the more you gave them those challenges that are there, and then we are hoping in them solving those challenges, they start to have the appetite of learning. Is very important. They have an appetite of coding, because now we are doing that even outside the classrooms. They have to use their extra time to do it. So when you have their buy-in, they go on their own, they do it. But then again, like the third thing is that collaboration, very important. You won't do it on your own. You have to look for partners out there that you can work with. You need to be in a position where you are patient as well, because when you approach a partner, they wouldn't know what you want, but then gradually, as you're working with them, the bigger picture will come in. Hence, what I'm trying to say is that collaboration needs patience as well. And then you cannot also, the partners can come from the industry, can actually be the research centers within your domain in the university, like I do with the UJ blockchain. And then the last part is to show the student the tangible result. It shouldn't only be theoretical. You can go as far as making sure that they get that certification for their technicality. But you can also keep on pushing for their ideas, like we're doing the app, and making sure that those apps are actually realized. Thank you.
Much, Dr. Taba. Thank you. Mr. Loki, I think we had a blockchain demonstration earlier, and also from the discussions we have had so far, we have had some apps. How do you think we can transition from this prototype, this small-scale project, into a very large scale project within the construction industry? How do you think we can transition from small to big?
Okay, thank you for the question. I was listening to, is it Dr. Suma? He mentioned something very important about the tender process, and I'll get to how we can transition. I can be used to contractors now do the work, OIR, submit, and we ask these questions. Now, what if everyone in the whole process is corrupt? Now you are bringing this blockchain, but how is it going to help if everyone is corrupt from stage one until to the end of the process? It creates a big problem now. So if you look at now that example that I just made, blockchain it's fast. There's so many smart contracts that we can use in different cases where we can now help with the scaling of these prototypes. For example, I'll make a simple example. Your NFTs that blew up recently, non-fungible tokens, those actually can be used by the municipality to embed the compliance records That can include your design approvals, your environmental clearances, safety inspections through the blockchain. So there is a possibility to upscale those prototypes. The biggest problem that I normally emphasize is you build these prototypes on a test net, and then once you are done, you want to deploy them, you are faced with this transaction costs, how to select the right blockchain platform. In the case of the Free State Department of Education, we were told everything needs to be private, which obviously is permission, but we know the trade-offs of permission is always the issue of there will be an administrator somewhere. And if there is an administrator, you have a big problem. It's still centralized. A record can be deleted by mistake, I'll say by mistake. So those are the challenges that we have in moving from those prototypes to products that we can see in the market.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lucky, for your response. I think the take-home is that we all believe in the capability of blockchain, but there are challenges. And from the technological acceptance and model theory, there is a need for us to focus more on the perceived usefulness of blockchain than collaborate for the technicality aspect. Please, a round of applause for our panelists as they go back to their seat. Thank you so much, sirs. Thank you so much, ma'am. We are in the last section of today's collaborative summit between the I think we have gifts for them, but I think we'll give it to them later. So we're in the last section of this collaborative summit between the South African Switzerland Bilateral Research Chair in Blockchain Technology and the SACHI Chair in Sustainable Construction Management and Leadership in the Built Environment. We'll call on Mr. Kiyomi Rotimi and his team for the UJ blockchain demo presentation and use cases. I think they have two presentations for us. Please kindly bear with us. This is the last segment of today's summit, and we believe it has been interesting and engaging so far. Mr. Rotimi.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, connected. Okay. Okay, because of time, we will be compressing two of the designs. We have two interesting designs. Each one builds on the preceding. The first is an AI-powered design studio. And you would say it's a BIM with blockchain. This idea started 2 years ago when we were faced with a project in the center we needed to do a 3D rendering. And in the course of doing this project, we realized that there were many flaws. And the concept of integrating blockchain with the entire system started. Last year, we released the beta version, which uses a gesture control using computer vision. And this year, we have version 1. I will start with what is actually an AI studio. For we to understand what an AI studio is, we'll need to go back to conventional CAD system. If you have ever done architecture in the university, or if you have ever done any project in a way that is close to 3D design, you'll most often hear about CAD. And for beginners, for most of us, it's not the most friendliest of application to easily pick up. So why these two? Basically, we started with the concept of a tool that can make it easy for us to do things in the center, an in-house thing. So initially, we started by saying it's an AI tool for 2D design, simulating a 3D product view. Then we added real-time image generation, analysis, feedback, and improvement. You will see that shortly during the demo. Then we also added user interaction via voice to text command, version selection, analysis for functionality. Then we added simulation for environmental simulation and camera control included. I would like to explain the last part. Say you have a video of JBS. I believe some of us drove in with our cars. There's no solar car. There's no rooftop where you park your car. I am from the APK campus. We have these car parks where you have a solar panel. So what if we could take the video of what it is currently and try to kind of simulate if we had a solar panel, how it would look like? Or if we take a 2D image and give it a like a 3D spinning of it to see every angle of the design. Before we continue, we have to know what the problem is. Current CAD tools are complex and they're expensive. You can just do a little Google and check some of the popular ones, the licenses. I believe you get an idea of what I mean. The design workflows are usually manual and time consuming, especially if you are doing layout and you are drawing it. You are doing 2D designs, maybe for a house, and you are just drawing it on a sheet of paper. Then also most SMEs you see currently in the market, they both lack both the technical know-how to use this advanced system, and they yearn for a system that is user-friendly and comes with basic tools they will need for their day-to-day activity. And construction details, design lacks real-time optimization with AI. So how does it work? You upload a video. For this particular demo, I have a video of the car park, which we took some days before this event. We initially generate that video, upload it, read the video frame by frame using computer vision. Then we'll get an initial 2D view. That initial 2D view has 4 basic characteristics: the front, the side, the top, and the isometric. Then we use prompt define using our model to add material designs to it, structural designs to it, aesthetics to it. Then we are able to now analyze on what we capture. Can we analyze the aerodynamics of the design? Basically, can this design withstand wind flow and pressure? We also analyze the aesthetic design. How does design element flow? What is the relationship in terms of the costs, the colors, the shape, and is it possible to have an idea if this design can be supplemented or complemented. And at the end of the day, we export the video walkthrough and we apply camera motion. I wouldn't want to go any further with the slide. I will switch now to the live demo. So I would try to log in. For this particular login, the conventional one is that we use a password login, but I'm using a face login. My face has already been trained with the system. So I'll remove my glasses. Yes, login successful. I have just logged in. The beauty about this system is that we can train multiple faces to do facial logins and facial recognition. Now, there are 3 or 4 main things I would like to show you as we continue. We have new designs, my designs, and my dashboard. I will start with dashboard because it's actually the easiest to explain. So I will open it in a new tab. So each time I create a new design, I have like a workspace where I can go back. Basically, I've created 6 designs. I've done a total of 18 iterations of those designs. And you see most of my recent activities, and you see most of my recent projects. Then my designs simply list out some of the projects I've been working on. So this system categorically groups every project you work on into clusters. Let's say I work on a project on tender today, and tomorrow I work on another project on tenders. It groups them into a block. It's easier for me to come back. So you see something on solar roof project and tenders. So it's easier for you to have a visual understanding of what is going on. Then I would add a project. The first thing is I would give this project a name. Then I would choose the file. So basically we have a project on the JBS. So what we did was that days before today, we captured where cars are being parked. The idea is it possible for us to simulate that environment? Then I would give it a name. In this case, I'll just call it demo. Then once that is done, for the initial prompt design, I really do not need to give it any prompt. I will just upload and generate design. Now, why this is uploading, every video has a frame. So what we do is we are smartly trying to read this video frame by frame. We read this video frame by frame. We try to understand what each frame is. I will try to extract what are the most useful frames in this video. It's going to take a time. Then we extract 4 views from this drone, from this video. By this way, this video can actually be captured by a drone. It can be captured by your phone. Because we are using computer vision, we are able to read it irrespective of how low quality your camera may be. With that done, you can see now that it's extracted 4 views for me from the video. This is the back of where you actually park your cars. Then I will just start refining. Now, basically, by the time I refine it, it brings me to a demo place where I can actually do all the analysis and simulation on this project. For the top, you see design version 59, because that is the number of times we have actually iterated it before this presentation, we've tested it 59 times. So the way it works is that by default, 4 views are created. I can select, the first view is selected by default for us. This is the side view. I can select it as a reference. I will just stick with the first view and select this as a reference. Once that is done, the first time as a student where I actually tried 3D design, I always thought, what if it was possible that I don't actually want to design the entire view? What if it was possible that I just want to design only this place? With this system, you can actually do it. So I don't want to analyze this entire view. I can only just analyze this. And it is possible with this system. I will come back to that. So once that is done, I would want to explain the analyze design first. I will just click on it. I think the output is easier to explain. So what analyze design does is that it looks at the current building construction or the building it could be a building, it could be a structure you're trying to check for defects. So we use 3 main parameters to check. We check for the flow of the design elements. Then we also check for the aerodynamics. Judging from what I am saying, can this project, can it withstand pressure? Can it withstand load test? I think it's referring to my crop area. I'll just refresh it and just analyze without cropping. So what it's now doing, just like I said it now, is that it's checking frame by frame, looking at this view and saying, what can I see from this view? What can I judge from this view? So we just wait for it to finish. So while this is loading, while it's still analyzing, yes, the analysis is done. It gives me an analysis of what it has seen, and it gives me 3 feedback scores. It gives me the visual balance of the design, the structural stability of the design, and the aerodynamics of the design. They are all rated on a scale of 0 to 1, meaning 0 to 100%. The visual balance refers to how elements in a particular construction design interact. So by 75%, this is quite okay. Visual balance looks at what is the interplay between the structure I am looking at, the image I am looking at, the color, are they well represented, is it well spaced? Then we look at the structural stability. Can this actually withstand pressure? Can it withstand much load? Then we look at the aerodynamics. For most buildings or most construction, this may not really be important, but if you are building in a place that is windy, you may want to understand if this particular project can withstand wind flow, if it can withstand pressure. Once this is done, it suggests based on what it has seen. It gives me a lot of suggestions. Say, oh, you can actually enhance the sustainability of this project. Obviously, it's obvious because you can see the score of the aerodynamics. So it's giving me suggestion and saying, these are some of the prompts you can actually suggest, and I can actually help you build it. But before that is done, I would like to generate the reports of what I just got, the analysis I just got. Now, what just happened was that the system looked at the reports, generated an analysis for it, which I can download. And this analysis is just a PDF report for what it has analyzed. It gives you, and which you can then share. Another thing you can also do is that you can upload this analysis to the decentralized storage. In this case, we are using IPFS. IPFS, which is Interplanetary File System. It's quite a mouthful. But what it simply means is that it's simply a system to share storage, to share data in a decentralized format. Lastly, there are other things you can do, including the voice control. We can also add a prompt. So I just want to do the last one. I would just ask it to create a panoramic view of the design. So I have the prompt here. So I'll just copy this one. This will be the closing. So in generating the panoramic view, I can also set how the camera should look. Please note that this is a 2D design, but I'm trying to transfer it. I can view this design or this construction design from any camera angle you can think of, either from the top, from the left. But in this particular explanation, I will not be using any camera view. I will just generate the video and wait for it to analyze. Why this is analyzing, I would just say that this system can work in different scenarios, and it can work in mining, it can work in simulation. You want to integrate it with an headset or a vision application system, it can also work. And also, we can also use the system for simulation, for real-life testing, to mention but a few. So I would come back once this video is generated. I'll just go to the slide where I complete it. This slide. Okay. So use cases, like I said, visual, structural components. You can check for the design before it was fabricated, after the design was fabricated. You can compare two construction design, check what has changed, and you can also monitor things like time lapses. Let's say the project was in the lintel level in January, and now it's in the roof, or it's now, the flooring is now done. We can simulate what has happened between then and when the project is currently. And we can build a 3D simulation for it. Then we can run visual simulation. We can iterate the design for prefabricated components, and we can create visual demos for clients and site teams. Implication for SMEs. Basically, the system is affordable. It is easy to use. What every person is already used to, the GUI is quite interactive. It's faster design turnaround, and by the way, the video I was generating is done. I'll just finish the slide. And it improved collaboration with Visual First workflow, and it can be used with any number of teams, whether it's a blockchain team, it's a small team of two, it's a one-man business. This system can be deployed easily. Upcoming features and collaboration. The idea now is that, what if I am working from home in Joburg, and my team is in Santi or is in Cape Town? Can we simulate together? Can we run a virtual design together? So multi-user collaborative design section, full integration with BIM. Just like we heard today, there is need for BIM to be linear. In adding linearity to BIM, we look at things like the cost, the scope, the time, quality. So all of this can be fully integrated into this system, either as a decoupled application, as a plugin format, to mention but a few. Real-time error detection and compliance. Just like you will see from the last project, every of the projects are all linked together. The future from the drone can be integrated seamlessly into this design. And also collaboration with construction SMEs and organizations. You have a feature you want to build, you want to add more interactivity, you want it to fit your particular organization or your particular needs. UJ blockchain can actually build it. Can it be switched back to my, so remember that I gave it an instruction to do a 3D permit me with the panoramic view. So this is actually the back of JBS. So I simulated it with realistic rendering system, then converted it to a video. Then we can then play it. And all this was done in less than 15 to 20 seconds. So this system holds immense possibilities, immense use case, and I welcome your questions if there are any concerning the system. Any question? In the absence of question, we move to the last system for today, which is a decentralized tender system. I would like to call on my colleague to please come on the stage. Just give me a second. All throughout this presentation today, we were hearing about adjudication. No, the smart contract needs to adjudicate. The tender needs to be adjudicated. We all have that on that tender block. So just give us a second to fully set up the system. Yes. You can start the slide while I set it up.
They say nice guys finish last, so I guess that makes me a nice guy. Good afternoon to all. My name is Nazire Mate, a diploma in logistics student and also a developer at UJ Blockchain. And it's an honor to be talking to you today. We as UJ Blockchain are excited to introduce to you tender blocks. Now, if you have been following us for some time, you will have heard about our tender blocks, but the assumption is that most of us are not familiar with it. So tender blocks is a blockchain-based application which makes tendering and the procurement of services more transparent and secure. So it uses both a centralized and a decentralized encryption to prevent fraud and also corruption. So in essence, it allows, let's say, the government or interested parties to advertise services which are required. For example, it could be a building of a school or any project. And then it allows different service providers or businesses to apply for that tender on the application. So surely you're asking yourself, why did we build this? So I'll make a practical example, maybe something we've heard on the news or something we've seen in our townships, whereby a project is announced that they're going to build a school, right? And then first you see the foundation and you're excited that school is coming. After a few months, there's no progress. After some years, the project is left, no school was built, it's still the foundation. And you start to think, what really happened? You start to go through your mind, and then you hear people talk, and then they say, you start to hear things like corruption, start to hear things like political parties. I won't name anyone. So in your mind, you're thinking, maybe there was a misuse of funds, maybe the wrong supplier was chosen for that type of a tender. So now, with the use of tender blocks, we use blockchain technology to bring transparency, bringing accountability, bring trust to the tendering process in these three ways, whereby we have immutable records, whereby nothing can be changed. So if I apply for a tender and someone applies for a tender, no one has access to change what I have sent or input on that form, as everything is encrypted in seconds as you apply. And then you also have a public trust. We as people, we as normal people around the townships, we can also have access to this type of information to know how the project is going, where the project is at this stage. And then we have a fair evaluation. Now, here at UJ Blockchain, we have an AI. It's called Tato. That's love in English. So it's Tato AI. So we use Tato to adjudicate from different service providers, those who applied for that tender. We will demonstrate how Tato works. So without any waste of time, we'll jump on the demonstration of how the tendering process works. In this case, I own a solar panel company. We install solars for different companies. Now JBS, we heard that JBS, they have no solar thing parking. So now I want to be the one who build that. So I want to apply for that now. So if you can go ahead and demonstrate. So this is the main login page. So first you'll need to register, of course. Then after registration, you can go ahead and log in. So you can click on login. And then it uses a two-factor authentication just to add a layer of security to prevent anyone from just signing in into your account. So I can just use an authenticator app provided by Microsoft to just scan this QR code. And then to give me an OTP, which is 026241. And then we can enter. So after now the main registration, it leads me to the dashboard whereby I have my main buttons there to check out. So we'll go on proposal. So proposal is where you would receive that invitation, let's say from the government or that certain company which needs you to complete certain jobs. So under proposal, you would have the explanation of the deliverables on what's required from you as a service provider. What is it that you have to follow? You have your scope of work, you have expected deliverables, and then there's guidelines also, whereby it shows you in detail how to actually apply for that tender. It shows you what's required, what documents should you submit, and you can also read more, or you can download PDFs here to just understand exactly what is required to prevent you from being rejected for an application. So we will go ahead and start a new tender submission, without any wasting of time. So in this tender application form, we have 5 steps. The first step is your company information. So here I can just enter my company name, which is Raising Roof. And then we can go ahead and input the contact address, which is, go ahead. And then after that, also the email address, you can just copy that and put it there. So again, contact address is where you are located as the business or service provider. We can put it in the email, and then we can put it in the credentials, phone numbers, and then you can upload your business certificate, because we want to ensure that identity is key. We want to ensure to know on who is who. We can just upload a company's information. I can have my tax number in there, and then a income tax certificate for different years, because we want to have a history and a great records of everyone who is applying for that tender, to have a good history about them, because we cannot just give a tender to anyone. So we put in from different years, and then also put in company account credentials. Again, it's just to ensure that the company has good records from them. They haven't done any shady business. Can put in from different years. That's for 2023, and then for 2022 also. And then we'll go ahead and add your commercial, bank name. In this instead, we'll add FNB, and then Once done, you can add a support letter. Why do you think you deserve this type of a tender, and your financial capability? Are you capable to actually complete this type of a tender? And then once that is submitted, we can go to the third step, whereby it asks for now your company information on your staff members, your directors, how many people are in the whole board. You can go ahead and pick a document in there, and then we have your key staff name. So this, in this case, would be my name as the owner of the solar panel installation company, and then I'm the CEO, of course. And then I would add my resume just to show off my experience, what I've done in the past. And then we'll save and continue. Now we're at step number 4. So this shows your recent project or previous project to showcase my work. So here I'll just say I've completed a project previously, which is a solar project, and then the client name from that previous stage. And then I can upload a completion certificate just to prove that actually I did do this job. Just go ahead and upload that. And then lastly, the gallery, just to ensure that, to show proof on how beautiful my designs are and how effective my services are. We'll save and continue to the final step. Then in this step, we just want to prove our plans and equipment ownership, because we want to, the tender must be received by someone who is very capable. So just go ahead and upload those documents. And then here I'm setting my bid amount. Remember, different service providers will bid for that tender. So for me, I want 300K. That's right, that's there. And then from there, we can just submit the form. And then after submission the form, so to make that official bid, I need to pay a fee just to show that I'm serious of what I want. So everybody needs to pay a fee to show that it's a formal application. So we'll verify that. I'm already sharing. We'll verify that by using so remember, this is a blockchain based application. So our payments are based on a blockchain application. So this is Solana network. We are using Solflare as an application to pay. So it's not real money, by the way. As you heard, that we've been using testnet. So we're also using testnet in this instance. So all I have to do is to just go ahead and scan. Share my screen, please. Okay, I can just scan. And then from there, this shows the payment information, shows to who am I sending this payment to, and then where is this type of a payment going. So all I have to do to approve it is to just slide this button, and then to send, and then it's a success. And then that would mean that my submission has been received, and now we can verify that. We'll just refresh the page, and then we can verify that my payment was made. Okay, yes, you get an email to notify you that your payment was successful. So that's the email there. It shows that your Solana payment has been verified. Now that's how this application works. Now, of course, it's on the blockchain. It shows you your blockchain information. Now, any one of us can view this on a blockchain explorer. They can get to know what exactly is happening. So we can go to Solana Explorer to check this type of a transaction which I've just made. So that's what I was talking about when I say public trust, whereby everyone has an access to such information. So let's go ahead and search. So here is it here. It shows you, as it says 1 minute ago, that's my address, shows all the details. So remember I said to you that we have an AI evaluation. Here at home, we have an AI called Tato. That's her name or his name. So Tato, again, it works as a voice command. You can ask it question. We use it for different aspects. We use it to promote learning. We use it to promote a deeper knowledge on blockchain. So it can answer in South African languages. So it can answer in Xitsonga, isiZulu, Sepedi, and the likes. But for now, we're just going to focus on it adjudicating for the tender which I've just applied for. So please let's go ahead and do that.
Adjudicate tender. So if I've done that and sent us an interview selection, it's going to speak now.
Seconds.
It's still processing the text. We can check.
Tender adjudication outcome. The tender for solar parking roof installation at JBS Park has been awarded to Racing Roof. Reason for award: the adjudication panel, following the Thato AI evaluation framework, selected Racing Roof based on a comprehensive review of submitted proposals. Key factors influencing the award included proven experience in solar panel installation projects, clear compliance with all regulatory and licensing standards within South Africa, competitive and transparent pricing, demonstrated environmental and sustainability commitments, high-quality proposal content aligned with project objectives. The selected company met or exceeded expectations in areas such as solar carport design, material supply, electrical integration, and compliance with municipal codes. The documentation and timeline provided also reflected professionalism and technical clarity. This decision is final and aligns with TenderBlock's strategic sustainability goals. All application materials and supporting documents from this bidder were reviewed and found fully compliant with submission and technical criteria. Please remember this adjudication result for future reference if asked who was picked.
So that is our adjudication, and then this is the email which is sent to us just to make the acceptance or the formal acceptance of that part, that kind of a tender which I applied for. So next time you come to JBS, there'll be a roof with solar that's there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, UJ Blockchain, for that wonderful demo. Well, now at the last stage, you have a question?
Hi everyone, sorry to ask at the last hour. So I wanted to confirm the system, does it verify if the documents are not fake? Because there's people, they forge certificates of compliances, and yeah, most of the documents, people who tender, they forge them. So does it verify if it's valid, it's not fraudulent, and it has not expired? Because I think some, for example, things like COIDA, they expire, I think, yearly. So does it verify those details?
In 2 minutes, please.
1 minute. All right. Thank you. Yes, it does verify. Remember, I said the system has plugin extension. So we launched a new platform called Certify. Certify enables you to verify documents with 2 AES 256 encryption added as a layer of security. So the simple answer is yes, it verifies. And the simple answer is we use Certify, built by UJ Blockchain, to do the job.
Thank you very much. For those that are hearing us, for those that will hear us from this video, if you have the money, we have the solution. If you have the problem, we also have the solution. Collaboration is key, and that is why today's summit is the collaborative summit between two research chairs. Before we call on Prof. Clinton for the closing remarks, I want to call on Mr. Ishmael Kazim to please present the gift to our panelists. Let me start with the ladies first. Dr. Taba, please, can you come forward? Thank you very much, Dr. Taba. Then I want to call on Mr. Shadrach. And Dr. Brighton. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Lucky, if you are hearing us, your gift is ready whenever you come to whenever you visit us. Please, a round of applause for Prof. Clinton as he gives the closing remarks for this summit.
Thank you very much. I thought he was going to say, Mr. Lucky or Dr. Lucky, we are going to give you a virtual gift. Or through the blockchain platform. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I really want to say thank you very much. Can we put our hands together for ourselves? Thank you, thank you, thank you. As I said earlier on that Prof. Nnamdi is my brother. When we just had less than 10 minutes conversation. Why don't we do something collaboratively looking at blockchain and the construction industry? And here we are. So ladies and gentlemen, I really want to appreciate all the keynote speakers. Can we put our hands together for them, please? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ishmael, Dr. Okwe, and also Dr. Sibanda. I know she's not here, but we want to really appreciate them for their time. And also to the panelists, thank you so much, Dr. Taba. You're always available. Thank you so much. She never says no. Can we put our hands together for her? Thank you. And also, Mr. Shadrach, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you. And also, Dr. Brighton, thank you so much. When I saw the Brighton hair, I was like, is it the Brighton Football Club? But anyway, thank you so much, Doc. We appreciate you. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we draw this particular landmark 2025 collaborative summit to a close, we know that it has been on blockchain and the construction industry. I really want to say thank you very much for every one of us, all the delegates, for your time. I know the time is fast spent, but you will agree with me that what has been presented, the demos and what we have heard, they look very kind of insightful, but it's going to be more than this. Don't forget, the beginning of everything always starts very small. And you will agree with me that today's deliberations, it has really been transformative, and at the same time, let me use the word illuminative. You know, I'm sure some of us are wondering, oh, it is possible to solve a tenders problem through this particular platform. Yes. And the whole idea is looking at the potential of how blockchain technology will shape the South African construction industry. Not just South Africa, but the entire Africa. And if you understand how African infrastructure is, the projection is that Africa needs $120 billion per annum if we're going to catch up in the next 10 years. So from the insightful presentations, from all the discussion in terms of the regulatory pathways, technological integrations, trust-building mechanism, and down to the discussion, I'm sure that all of us will agree that the future of the South African construction industry is digital. It's going to be decentralized, and at the same time, it is going to be data-driven. So I really want to also put our hands together for the program director. We know she's not here. Let's thank her very much. Dr. Mpumi, we really want to appreciate Prof. Nnamdi. Thank you so much for your time. I know it's really been hectic putting all this together. And I want to say that let's commit to maintaining this particular momentum through the collaborative research we have started already, the pilot project. We want to scale them. And considering that The other researcher, we are developing a construction digital labs. These are some of the things you are going to be seeing. And we're not just having a seminar, but it's actually going to go into something bigger. So once again, as we proceed to call this a day, I want to say, guys, thank you so much. And please travel safely. Don't rush. You will get home because we want to see you again next year. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Prof. And as we end today's collaborative summit, we have some snacks for us outside. Just take something as you leave. So by the power invested in me, this collaborative summit has now ended. Thank you so much for coming. God bless you and have a wonderful evening.